name's John, and I am a EMT. I've been an EMT for 15 years, and I am currently studying respiratory therapy. And I was asked to do a presentation for all of you on a healthcare related topic. So, the topic that I decided I wanted to talk to you about was cigarette smoking. And I wanted to talk to you about um, all the negative and bad things that cigarette smoking can do to you. So, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a few different things, okay? The first thing I want to speak to you about is something called peer pressure. And what peer pressure is it's when your friends want to they want to do something. It could be good, it could be bad, and essentially they want you to join in with them. So they're going to ask you if, in this case with cigarettes, they would ask you if you wanted to smoke a cigarette with them. And what you really want to do is you want to learn how to be able to avoid that and stay away from that. And it's very difficult because when your friends are together and you're with them and they want to do something and you want to join in, sometimes they can make you feel unwanted if you decide you don't want to. And I'm just here to tell you that that doesn't matter, and the choices that you make are yours. And ultimately, you have the power to say yes or no and make that decision on your own. If your friends don't agree with that and they get mad at you and they give you a hard time over it, then they're probably not a very good friend. Okay, so really, what you want to do is you want to learn these two words. Okay, say no. And this is all you have to do when they tell you or ask you to do something that you don't necessarily want to do. You just say no. So with that said, I want to talk a little bit about how we view cigarette smoking. Okay, so the view on cigarette smoking has changed quite a bit. When I was your age, cigarette smoking was considered to be cool. It was a cool thing to do. A lot of people did it, and that's really changed a lot over the years. So what's happened is we've kind of realized that, well, we've always known that cigarette smoking is bad for you and it kills you. It will ultimately take your life. And we've always known that, but it was never really, it was, like I said, back when I was a kid, it was still looked upon as the cool thing to do. And we just kind of took that chance. But with all the research and all the statistics that show all the bad things that happen to people with cigarette smoking now, the whole view has changed quite a bit. So we kind of look at it as cigarette smoking makes you smell bad, makes your breath smell bad, it makes your fingers smell bad, it gets all over your clothes. And so, it's kind of looked upon as a negative thing now, which is good because with more of that being out there and more of that information being out there and more of that negative look towards cigarette smoking, it kind of helps you to not want to do it. So you're actually in a better situation now than kids were back a long time ago. So it's really changed quite a bit over the years, and for the better. So I just want you to understand that that's a good thing. It really is a negative thing. It really is a bad thing, and we don't want to smoke. We don't want to be around smokers. It's not good for you. Whether you do it yourself or the people around you that are doing it, when you breathe in their smoke, that's doing the same thing. In fact, it's worse. because you're not breathing it through a filter. So you're getting all those bad things that are in the smoke that cause all the diseases and all the problems that you can have that will ultimately end up taking your life. So another thing I wanted to talk about is how cigarette companies are very, very big. They make a lot of money. And what they've always done from the very beginning is they've always tried to kind of put their product out there in a positive way, because obviously they want you to buy the cigarettes and they want you to smoke. So back a long time ago, there used to be ads on TV. You'd be sitting there watching your cartoons, and then all of a sudden a commercial would pop up with some guy on a horse, and he looked real cool, and he had the big hat on, and he was smoking his cigarette, and they portrayed him as this really cool guy. And those commercials have gone away. We don't see them anymore, and that goes with the change that I talked about earlier. But the one thing that has pretty much stayed the same is the packaging of the cigarettes. So what they do is they package their cigarettes in packaging that usually has vibrant colors. They'll have some, even in the name, like there's one particular cigarette called Lucky Strike. You know, it sounds lucky, right? So it's got that that positive feel to it. And so they've always packaged, and this is a picture right here. If you look, these are all different types of cigarettes, okay? These are all the different packaging. You can see how they have all these vibrant colors, and almost kind of makes you just want to give it a try, just because it looks pretty good, you know? So this is something that the companies use to try to lure you in. You have to be smart enough, and you have to be able to understand that that's what they're trying to do. So don't pay any attention to it. It's not, this is a bad product. This is something that's going to hurt you, and this is something that is not going to do anything to help you out in any way in your life. So you want to stay away from things like that. And this has been done, you know, all over the world with all kinds of different products, and that's how they lure you in. So another thing that we need to talk about that's really, really important, it's really the most important part of this whole speech, is the hazards of smoking and all the bad things that cigarette smoke does to you and does to your body. First off, the ultimate thing that cigarette smoking can do to you is it can give you cancer. And it can give you cancer not just in your lungs, but it can give you cancer throughout your body. All different areas of your body can contract cancer from cigarette smoking. Cigarettes, the smoke that you're breathing in has something in it called carcinogens. And what that means is the carcinogens are they're toxic to your body. So they ultimately, when you breathe it in and you keep taking it into your body doesn't know how to react, and it senses that it's got something bad and something toxic in it, and your body always has defense mechanisms that try to kind of compensate for what you're doing. But then when you continue to do it, your body can't help itself anymore, and then it actually overcomes your body, and then you get all the health problems that come with it. There's something in cigarette smoke called nicotine, and nicotine is the actual drug that's in the cigarette smoke. And what the nicotine does is it causes you to become dependent on the cigarettes. So you can't stop. If the more you do it, and And the more you breathe that stuff in, the harder it's going to be for you to stop. And then when you get to the point that you can't stop, then there's nothing you can do. You're kind of stuck. You can try to quit, but it's very, very difficult. And if you ever see, there are commercials out there where there's medications that are out there that are trying to help people quit. It's very, very difficult. And if you ask anyone who smoked for a long period of time, they will always tell you, if you don't have to do it, don't do it, because once you're hooked, you're hooked. So it's very, very important to understand that nicotine is a very, very addictive drug. So I have this little schematic here, and this shows a lot of different ways that cigarette smoking can affect you. Okay, so as you can see, it causes cancer. It can cause cancer in your head, okay, in your brain. It can cause cancer, obviously, in your lungs, because that's where you're breathing the cigarette smoke into. It can cause something called leukemia, which is a disease that you can contract just from smoking cigarettes. It can cause cancer in your stomach. When you are smoking cigarettes and you're swallowing, like you always do, you always swallow your saliva, the cigarette smoke is in your saliva. And when you keep swallowing that, it gets into your stomach. And then the carcinogens that you were breathing in, they're going into your stomach as well. So you can get cancer in your stomach. You can get cancer in your kidneys. You can get cancer in your pancreas, in the tubes in your stomach. So when you're after your stomach, you have these tubes where the food goes and then ultimately comes out of your body. You can get it in there. You can get it in your bladder, where you go to the bathroom when you pee. Okay. There's so many areas of the body where you can get cancer that will ultimately be from the cigarette smoking. Okay. You can also get chronic diseases. All right. So what I mean by that is you can get a disease that will stay with you and it won't go away, and it makes your life miserable. You'll be constantly coughing. Your chest will always hurt. It'll be hard for you to breathe. Once that happens, it's irreversible. All right. So you can get something called a stroke, which is when you get a blood clot in your brain, and once that happens, you can end up dying from that. It can cause blindness. Okay, so you can actually get to a point where you can't see anymore. You can get infections in your gums. Okay, right here in the gums where your teeth are. Your teeth get yellow. They turn colors, and then your gums get infected from all the bad stuff that's in the smoke that I talked about. You can get heart disease. Your heart and your lungs work together. So when your lungs get infected, your heart will get infected. Your heart will get bigger. It'll swell up. It'll make it harder for your heart to pump the blood. You can also get something called hardening of the arteries. So you have these big tubes in your body that the blood flows through. They're very big and thick, and they're called arteries. They can actually get hard and stiff from smoking cigarettes on a regular basis. And once that happens, it's very hard for the blood to flow and circulate through your body. So you can also get something called asthma. Asthma is when you have a very difficult time with your breathing, and then you can have these episodes where all of a sudden you can't breathe, and you cough, and it's difficult to get air. So this is something that will happen constantly, all the time. So as you can see, there's a lot of different things that cigarette smoking can do to your body, and none of it is good. There's no positives to cigarette smoking. This is something that every time I look at, I just kind of shake my head, and hopefully you'll do the same thing. So this is a picture of a pair of lungs okay? Human lungs and a heart, and this is the real thing. These are real lungs and a heart that came out of a human body, and one of them is a normal pair of lungs and a normal heart, and the other is a pair of lungs and a heart from someone who smoked cigarettes on a regular basis. Okay, so when you look at this, I'm sure you can tell me which one is the smoker and which one wasn't. It's pretty easy to see. You see how black your lungs get when you smoke cigarettes? So these are the normal lungs, okay? They have that nice tan pinkish color to them, and you see the heart has a nice red color to it, okay? Over here, this is the smoker's lungs, okay? They're black and charred. They almost look like they were burned, put under a fire or something. And you see the heart here, okay? It's bigger, it got larger, okay? Because it had to work so hard. So this is what's happening inside your body when you're smoking cigarettes. It's not good. There's nothing good about it, okay? So I hope you guys understand how serious this is. You know, when you do things to your body like that, your body is not made for it. Your body is not made for putting this stuff into it. Okay, it doesn't like it. It doesn't want it. So you have to understand that the end result to smoking cigarettes is going to be you dying. Okay, there's no other way to put it. If you continue to smoke on a regular basis, you will shorten your life by many, many years. Okay, and your quality of life. And what I mean by that is, you know, when you get up every day or you go to bed every night, you want to feel good. You want to feel, when you wake up in the morning, you want to feel like, you know, you want to get up and you just want to have the day. You know, when you smoke cigarettes, you just don't feel like that. You feel miserable in the morning. You probably have a lot of coughing. You get stuffed up. Your nose doesn't feel good. Nothing feels good. You just feel like you just got hit by a truck or something. So your quality of life is no good. And then once you get these diseases, these chronic diseases, and then they're irreversible, then that's it. You have to live the rest of your life feeling miserable. So it's really not a good choice. So remember what I said earlier in the beginning, when your friends are trying to pressure you into doing something that you don't want to, you just have to say no, okay? Remember? Say no. Don't forget that, okay? Always remember, if you don't want to do something and you're not comfortable with doing something, you say no and you walk away, okay? So I hope that this helped, and I hope you guys understand how serious cigarette smoking is, and I hope that you've taken this into consideration, what I've said, and you'll understand that if you just stay away from it, that you'll just have a better life. You'll feel better, and everything with your body will be functioning better. Okay? So I hope you all have a good day, and I hope you got something out of this.